Hello viewers and welcome back to Wargame Red Dragon. I'm your host Choo as always, and today we're going to be checking out another round of this game, and we're playing as a Japanese deck. Actually, we're rather a Japanese and South Korean deck, so it'll be a Red Dragon deck. Anyhow, we're playing on another naval match. Now, usually, I mean, these ones, they have a tendency to devolve into naval matches just in general. But for this one, it shouldn't be that bad, seeing as how it's low point. So for this deck, I've actually brought in quite a nice little selection of units, mainly these little STRBH-90s, and a few of these and a little landing craft for the supply, so this will be interesting to see how this sort of goes. Right now, I want to grab Echo, so that's where my main effort is being put, and I'm trying to get my troops to just try to drop over there, and really just get on going like that. One neat tip, just for you guys for now, supply boats aren't actually targeted by default by practically anybody else, so if you have them and your opponent isn't watching, you can typically, I want to say, just squeeze them into places where your opponents, they won't actually do anything to stop you, because it requires a manual order. So that's sort of that. Currently, I want to grab this little village area right here just to sort of delve into Echo or Kilo some more. And for this Japanese deck, the Japanese have roughly, well, they have similar perks to what the Red Dragons have. Namely, the Japanese infantrymen, they have this M67 RR recoilless rifle, and these are the shock troops for them. It hits up to 1.4 kms, so it's by far one of the most long-range weapons in terms of non-ATGM rifle AT weapons in this thing. While it doesn't have a particularly high accuracy, I'm actually going to use actually I think I'll use 2 squads of these to cover this little road junction, so this will be rather neat. Inside my deck, I have some other neato troops just to show you guys. I have some of these Han troopers. These guys, I think we've seen them once before, and they're Japanese recoilless rifles. They fire both HE and AP ammunition. It's actually the same rifle as these Hoodoo Ren people, but the main difference is simply the fact that it can fire 2 different types of ammunition. So, I'm mainly trying to get my troops to deploy. I actually want to explore this area a little bit. The downside about Japanese is that if their troops don't come in on, or rather, the Blue Dragons in general, if their troops don't come on AP or planes, don't know what I'm saying here. They typically come on these little cheapo trucks. The only downside is that they're actually not too cheap in terms of vehicles. They're actually fairly expensive. So, evidently, they seem to really want to fight us on seas, and it looks like they're trying to, I don't know, maybe cap off our air supply duct, or something like that. I mean, NATO is right now really strong on seas, which is a bit of a downside to these matches, because typically, the pack player will just only want to play on seas, and then pretty much no one else does anything, right? So it looks like he invested, this guy, Mayor or something, he's invested fully onto just naval stuff in general, which is kind of weird, I would say. It looks like he's trying to take out these FOBs for some cheap 75 points. Again, these are targets that you can't shoot, or these are targets that you can shoot at. It's just that typically it'll only be a manual process, so that's sort of that. Over here, I have these STRBs for naval control, or for canal control. This LCU, it actually holds roughly 2/3 of an FOB, so in theory, I should be kind of fine. It's still kind of finicky, but there's a good chance that I won't have to actually do much, or rather, there's a good chance that losing my supply bases won't be that big of a penalty to me. So, continuing off here, I have some UDT SEALs, again, another unit that we've probably seen before, and these guys are the elite infantry. I'm going to send them up with the Hans. The SEALs will take the damage and they'll dish out infantry damage, where the Hans will come in and they'll support them with those HE recoilless rifles, because they're fairly weak, but they can do a lot of damage like such. And I have a pretty good little recon vehicle, the KM900, it's just going to sort of scout for us inside the back of our lines. And yeah, pretty much that. Looks like they're sending in a few boats to, I don't know, maybe to try to interdict my boats inside this canal. I'll see what they're gonna do. And I'll actually see whether or not these Navy SEALs or such. These Navy SEALs are actually armed with grenade launchers. I want to see whether or not anything actually interdicts these boats as they sort of try to come into this canal here. What I'm actually going to do is that I'm going to get my artillery to start to fire on some boats. And I want to hit the big one over there because it's the most, well, obvious target. But I want my artillery to start to shell the enemy boats just to see whether or not I can do any damage at all, really. Oh. Looks like they're bringing in sappers, and those sappers look like they've just ripped apart my infantry just in general, so that's not very good. In that case, I have some troops back here, and I'll just keep them here, really. I'm actually going to call in my bombers to make a pass over this area. And these Ace-37 bombers, they're cool in that they have both AT cluster bombs and regular bombs, so they're dual-purpose bombers, and they can do, I would say, a decent amount of damage. Here, I'm gonna need some more infantry, so I think I'll buy some more Hans, and I think I'll buy some more of these hoodoo runs to garrison this area. Didn't expect them to be bringing sappers, but you know what, whatever happens. Oh, they actually only managed to pick up my Hans. They didn't get my UDT SEAL squad. Yeah, inside some of these forests, I mean, you do have some issues where it's like it's kind of finicky to find them. Oh, they have some. They evidently have launchers over there, so I'm gonna pull back. Yeah, pretty much that is that. I see some T-55s on that river. This will actually be rather interesting to see how my STRBs handle this. They're armed with Hellfire missiles, which is why I bought them, and these are incredibly accurate, high-hitting, high-powered rockets, and they carry 8 of them. It hits up to 2.8 kms, and I think it's one of the farthest ones that NATO has, or at least inside the earlier games, those were the highest ones that NATO had, which make them very great vessels to just sort of control this lane. I mean, they're sea boats, and they have decent amount of strength. And if they just really just sort of come into this canal here, nothing can stop them. They're fairly fast too. I mean, they're not necessarily that high in terms of hit points, but so long as they can just sort of snipe their targets, I mean, they do pretty well. And looks like there's something, a little tank somewhere right around there that's gonna take a few pot shots at them, so I can get them to just reverse. Looks like, yeah, looks like unfortunately they can only survive 3 shots to them though. I'm having a little bit of difficulty figuring out the actual hit points on these seagoing vessels because they're measured in the amount of crewmen inside them, which is really rather odd. I mean, usually you wouldn't expect them to be managed in that, but I mean they are, so I suppose, well, you know, it works, I guess. Yeah, I'm gonna get my troops off here. Evidently they have some APCs or something over there. Let's get my troops garrisoned up. And these planes here, they actually have little miniguns on them, so maybe they'll be able to pick off a few things as they go along here. And nice, we got a recon helicopter in the back of their line, so that's good. Oh, they want to hit... no, that's not going for me. Yeah, it's rather interesting how the game develops now. They still have these APCs around. Evidently my Hoodoo Wrens can't see them just yet. Now they can. Try our best to just sort of take command of this area. And because they have these long-range HE rifles, or recoilless rifles, AP recoilless rifles, they should actually do a decent job in controlling this area. I'm kind of hesitant on going near that tank because I'm under the impression it's a flame tank. Might be a TO tank, so that might be a little too much. I'm gonna see whether or not I can. Yeah, it's a TO-55. It has flame capabilities, but evidently it doesn't see our infantry. I believe it has bad optics, so yeah, hopefully we can get another shot. That flame weapon will stun our infantry, making it so that we have a hard time killing it, unfortunately. And free MTBs, evidently. We'll just sort of take these and pull them back. I see some infantry, or a vehicle with infantry inside them. Are these troop carriers, or are these, yeah, they're troop carriers. Okay, fair enough. We'll try to send our supply vehicles back to our base. Or maybe not. think I'll use my seals here to, oh, he has some motostrelic infantry over there, that's why. I actually get my squads here to kill off their MTB little supply transports. And the reason I'm going to do that is because those supply vehicles, while they're not intrinsically that expensive, if you actually kill off the enemies' supply vehicles, typically nowadays, I mean, they'll only have like, I would say, 8 of them in one stack, making them really rather expensive actually. I see a supply helicopter maybe? Our infantrymen can shoot at it, so I'm actually going to get them to try to hit it. I'm going to drop some bombs here. It looks like it's going to take out their little plane as well. And depending on, you know, how well your troops are sort of dug into buildings, you can actually get them to just sort of scurry about in here. I see some... Those APCs? Yeah, those are APCs. Oh, we can fire off a few rounds at them. I think we will. Come on. I'll get those guys to just do whatever. Now, over here, my infantry are just gonna try... Yeah, they're gonna just try to crawl around inside that area. Currently, I'm trying to figure out where should I go to take out some enemies. Because inside my zone, there's not too much here. And while I'd like to push into Kilo a little bit more, it's a difficult position to go to. I think I'll buy another, I'll buy a recon squad, I'll deploy them and I'll check out what is inside Kilo, and chances are is that I'll be able to use my boats to pick them out. Now, over here, they still have naval control, unfortunately. And I'm going to see whether or not I can range down one particular craft, and it looks like I'll be able to range down these huge ends. These things are really rather lethal in that they have these ship-to-ship missiles, and they're only 100 points. So if you actually have a whole bunch of these huge ends, you can do a ton of damage on naval craft just using their little missiles and stuff and such like that. Oh, no, our troops are spawning in here. I was under the impression that they were dying over there for whatever reason. And look, it looks like our guys are shooting recoilless rifle rounds at boats over here. Speaking of boats, I will actually bring mine up to assist my guys. Yeah, these little rivercraft, they actually don't seem to be that strong in terms of just, you know, strength in general. And it looks like we're actually able to use our ATGM launchers on these boats, so this will be rather handy. And these STRBs will, I suppose, just go up this river and pick off their boats in general. So yeah, we'll try to do that. I didn't realize that the ATGM weapons will actually be able to damage other boats. We'll use them. We'll try to pick off those guys as they go along. And I think we'll just maintain a little naval blockade of sorts inside here. These guys are shock infantry against 2 motostrelic groups. Really liking these little naval canal boats. They seem to be very useful. What I think I'll do here is I'll get the Suchong people to push up, and these guys are regular infantry. Evidently there were some motostrelic infantry here. We're still brawling it out over there. Hopefully my Hoodoo Run people will be able to pick off one boat before they die. But that is sort of that area. What I want to do here is that I want to start to move up through this canal and using my riverboats as the main oomph in our push. Try to do something here. Yeah, in this sector of the map, it's just really low risk conflict or something as such. It's not that high. No. Damn. What can we do? Evidently, it looks like the enemy has a command squad inside Kilo, so we're going to try to push up in here. Now, it looks like my Japanese infantry, they have really long-range weapons. It looks like they just, you know, they can't necessarily hold down the fort by themselves, unfortunately. Try to push up my naval blockade here. These STRBs, so long as they don't run into any tanks, I believe they'll actually be fine for the most part. Yeah, evidently they can snipe things with their ATGMs from here, although it looks like they have some sort of ATGM thing back there. Oh, perfect. Got their command vehicle too. Oh no, they're gonna get one of my boats. And these STRBs, I mean, they're 50 points too, which is the other good thing. If I actually keep, you know, on for future notice, if I keep one boat just sort of inside this canal area right here, I might be able to actually just contest this, these two bridges here entirely, making it so that the enemy will either have to buy a amphibious craft, or just in general do something else to access this area, so that'll be kind of neat. What else can I do here? They seem to, yeah, they really want to get my little craft inside there or something. They want to also use these canals. And, well, it looks like they are just getting ripped apart by the infantry over there, so that is at least good. Now, I really need to do something about this backlog of troops, or rather this forest area in general, so I think I'll bring up a few more vehicles. And I don't know if aircraft will actually, you know, do the trick over there. What are they doing? They're moving their Eugens inside this canal. That's rather interesting. In that case, what I think I'll do is, well, I am buying infantry. And speaking of these canals, I mean, with these Japanese Hoodoo Run troops, I'll buy a few more of them. With these guys, if I position them inside like the little forested areas over here and there, they'll be able to take pot shots at the enemy, and they'll obviously be able to do some damage to the boats too. I think I'll actually buy a few tanks now. With the little canal boats, the Soviet ones, the Japanese were the Red 4 ones. They usually carry. Yeah, they carry autocannons. I was gonna say that they usually don't outrange tanks, but it looks like they do in certain circumstances. So this is a difficult area to move in, and I mean, these huge Jan troops, I mean, they really do seem overpowered in that. Yeah, they once they enter these canals, they outrange tanks. They have a great little missile here to take out enemy craft. Although it looks like they're actually, yeah, they're not big enough to actually go through this little bridge. That's fantastic. And evidently, my my STRB here is really doing a lot of work. It can even shoot things over there. Alright, well, I mean, I want to get rid of those Eugens. That is one big thing that I want to do. Because evidently those guys are really being a pain in my butt on the naval scene. I'll get my infantry to dismount here. I think I'll try to skirmish off with my little STRB again. Well, actually, I think I'll end the video here since it's going to be right around 20 minutes, and I suppose this will be a good place to finish. So, I mean, we've checked out the Japanese infantry a little bit, the Japanese forces in general, and some of the uses for monitors. So, yeah, that's pretty much that. I'll see you guys later on, where we do, you know, I want to do a little bit more in-depth thing on the Japanese troops, so I think we'll do that later on. See you guys in a little bit, I suppose.